Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Fuel for Success. This is episode number 145. I'm excited to be back here in Studio 11, Hastings, Minnesota. Matt's still en route back home. Taking a little siesta, my man, which is
Yeah,
good.
this is not me. This is not my nature. But when I left Detroit, I was going to go back to Florida because I've actually been out of Florida more this month than I've ever. Like the last 2 months, I've been gone a total of like over 35 days in the last 2 months. That has never happened. And but man, I felt a drawing to this little area where I'm at right now, to do some, just like you said, relaxing, healing, just being and just resting. And man, it's been amazing. It's been gorgeous here. Michigan in the summer is beautiful, and just having a
Yeah,
good time. I don't know when I'm gonna leave. I mean, I'm probably maybe not till Thursday or Friday. Who knows? Might stay through the weekend. Guess there's
nice.
really no rush to get back now that I really think about it. I can do everything I need to do here. So, you know, you know how it is. We rarely slow down and rest, rarely ever. And when we do, it's like, wow, so this is what it feels like to sit down and sit still. It's what it feels
Yeah,
like to leave your phone in the car. Wow, really? Man. Anyways, it's good, man.
that is good. And as you know, and anybody that's been to Mission 25 knows, it's emotionally, spiritually, and physically draining. And of course, with the preparation leading up to it, of course, you were on the road at least a week
Yeah.
before that, and like we always joke, it's like, oh yeah, well at least we come to these things rested up, which is the opposite of true. I'm typically putting in 16, 18-hour days to try to get caught up before I leave, so I'm running on 3 or 4 hours of sleep. Um, but hey, it's all about the kingdom. So
Not to mention the long drives. But yeah, you and I will get there Friday or Thursday, and we'll look at each other and we'll be like, okay, man, how are we going to get through this? What I really love is the 5 a.m. wake up calls on Saturday morning to go juice, and our walk down the hallway to the elevator is like very few words. And then
yeah,
it's usually like a look of like, okay, we're about to do this, man. Or what's really would make people laugh is the walk on Saturday night back to the hotel room, because we look like two old men walking down the hall. We're like hunched
we
over,
did.
like moaning. Every step was like a moan.
Limping.
I don't like to
Yeah.
admit that, but it's true, baby. It's true.
Every Saturday night after Mission 25, I say to myself, Mike, you got to get to the gym a little bit more because I'm whooped. I feel like I went 4 quarters out on the football field, man.
Well, every Saturday night I play that country song, "Not as Good as I Once Was." We're like, man, in our 20s, we'd have been like, is this it? What else?
Right. Yeah, I think we actually said that Saturday night. Like, why didn't we do this when we were 23?
Yeah, because then this has
The
been like
heck
a
is
week
wrong with us?
long, no sleep, no biggie. Let's go to 20 shelters. Anyways, hey man, Mike, we're gonna do another Mission 25 recap today. We did one yesterday, and we never even got to scratch the surface to tell the
Yeah.
stories of what took place this weekend. And really, we'll just go until the flow is over. So we'll see how much we can get in today. But I feel like we owe it to people, to Fuel for Success, to our fans out there, our viewers, to hear what's going on. I mean, we put it on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, but sometimes that really doesn't tell the whole story. So that's why we decided, you know what, let's recap Mission 25, and let's tell some stories of some things that took place on our mission trip. Mike, I want to start off, or actually, you go ahead and start off. Tell us what's going on today, and then I'll tell a story or so,
What I think you just said what was going on today.
man.
Did I miss something? Hey,
You know,
Carol was.
not the day to get hateful, okay? When a
Uh,
brother is trying to
yeah,
rest and heal, we don't get hateful. Are we understood?
yeah. I'm sorry, bro. So there was a lot of clamoring for Carol to be on today. One of the things that happens though is from the physical, emotional, and spiritual, and even the spiritual warfare that happens takes a toll on us physically. And of course, Carol has a chronic respiratory issue, and she's still sleeping. She really needs some rest, so she's not going to be on the show this morning. And as you know, I took a massive hit by the time we got back Saturday. I believe God protected me, but like the time I hit our hotel room Saturday night, I was so sick. I didn't even know if I was going to be able to get out of bed Sunday.
You were
But I'm
sick.
doing quite a bit better now.
Then it hit
Um,
Caleb, man. It hit Caleb for 2 days. He just now started feeling better yesterday. So whatever. Yeah, it's intense. Definitely intense. But you were out, man.
yeah. And today's Tuesday, and typically we talk about personal finance and wealth building. Um, Today we're not going to, but I'm going to share one quote real quick from Dave Ramsey because I saw it this morning, and then we'll segue into Mission 25. How's that sound? So we'll give 20 seconds of content for wealth building. Dave Ramsey said, "Your most powerful wealth building tool is your income. Don't give it away in payments for junk." Wow.
That's actually really good. Meaning like the furniture places, buy here, pay here, however that works. You know,
Right.
where you get the furniture and you make payments. You're better off just sitting on the floor, being patient, putting money into an envelope, saving up, going buying for cash, my friends.
And then also get a little perspective by going to a Mission 25, and then you'll realize you don't need that junk anyways. So
No, Mike, it really
that was
does. I mean, I probably got 3 texts from people yesterday that says, I don't even, I want to sell my house. Like, I don't need all this. I don't need all this stuff.
right.
You know, and again, I'm gonna be the one to tell everybody there's nothing wrong with having stuff or being blessed or anything like that. Don't misunderstand the message. The message is clear. Your highest priority should be Matthew 25 and serving the poor. Your highest priority should be that no matter how much money you have or don't have, you should always give and always serve and always be willing to bless those that are in need. Mike, you can't help but think, okay, what would Jesus do, right? WWJD, it went all across, it was a big movement for a while, and I'd love to bring it back. What would Jesus do? You walk into a shelter and you see 20 homeless ladies and children that have nothing, literally nothing. Like Mike, they had no pillows, they had no blankets. One elderly lady, as we shared yesterday, slept on a plastic mattress, and you think there's probably 10,000 people. And forget that. Probably 90% of our church people could afford to bless her with a pillow and maybe some bedding or something like that. So the problem is, Mike, is so many people live with intentions. Oh, I want to give back. I want to serve. That's why we started Mission 25, because it is not practical for everyone to get to Africa or Philippines or some third world country to serve, to do a missions trip. To me, this is the
Right.
most beautiful thing going, because you're able to like go to a place like Detroit. Like we drove through Detroit and I felt like I was on a missions trip. I felt like I was in a third world country. The poverty that we saw, you know, moms and kids register this living in their car. Hear me?
Right.
Living in their car. So you should walk up to that car and see what you can do for them. Are you able to like get them into a house? No, we've done that before. We've done that a couple of times actually. Help people actually get into a home. In fact, Mike, tell the story about that couple from Chicago. This is an amazing
Chicago.
story.
Yeah. And this was from Pastor Gardner, Jordan Gardner, who was at our Mission 25 in Chicago. And when we were having breakfast with the homeless, I believe it was he and his wife were sitting with a couple, and she was pregnant. They were homeless, and she was like 8 months pregnant, 7 months pregnant, something like that. And they really connected. They spent all breakfast connecting, and I got a Facebook message from him that said, it said that they took him to breakfast, connected, and then they're from, I believe, Aurora. Jordan Gardner is, I believe, from Aurora, Illinois, which is like 40 minutes outside of Chicago. So that couple came out and literally stayed with them for a couple of weeks, and so they got everything they needed for the baby and got him set up in an apartment. And he's starting a job. Actually, started a job yesterday. So Jordan sent me this on Sunday. So they took them in for a couple of weeks, got all the stuff they needed for the baby, found them an apartment, and helped him find a job that he started yesterday. So that kind of follow up. So here's a couple with a pregnant mom, the dad. Now they're off the street in an apartment with the job, because we're talking about taking them in for a couple of weeks. I mean, that's commitment. That's powerful. That's giving.
Mission 25. And you know what, Mike? Even pre that, remember, I think they collected money from everybody and gave like close to $200 gift card or something for diapers and baby
Oh
formula
yeah,
and all this stuff, right?
right. Yeah, I
Yeah, it
think
was
so.
beautiful. Beautiful. And this is happening. I mean, the people that have been coming to Mission 25, see what a lot of people don't understand is we have people in every city where we've gone to that are continuing to follow up and connect with the people that we've gone and served. I mean, I get that question. I don't understand why I get that question. I don't. I don't know why people feel like they need to email us and say, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not offended. I just don't get it. I don't get the mentality. Like, really? Like, take your time to email and ask, are you guys following up with these people? Like, I don't know the motive of the question. And I'm not questioning the motive. I just don't get the question. Of course we would. Like, that's an automatic given. That's like, that would be like somebody emailing me and saying, now, when you're on a road trip with Caleb, do you feed him? Like, who would email me and ask that? Of course I feed him. you know, so yeah, we follow up on all the people, the places that we go to. We have people, in each location. God bless them. They're amazing. Like 3 met last night. Shout out
Yeah,
uh, to Joe. Dude, Joe, how do you say it? Gwenta?
Gwenta,
Yeah.
Gwenta.
And then uh, Pastor
Jeff
Alismar
Reza.
and Jeff Breeza.
Yep.
Three just incredible. Like those three guys right there, if I could stuff them in my suitcase and bring them to every Mission 25, if nobody else showed up, we could still pull off an amazing missions trip. Those guys are
Yeah,
beast, man.
and they were so inspired and moved by what happened in Detroit, and all three of them have a heart for Detroit and were moved on their own. And we're talking about three men from three different churches. I believe all three are actually ministers from three different churches. Came together last night to meet to figure out, okay, how can we keep the momentum going, keep serving the people that we met during Mission 25. I mean, that to me is powerful. And I told Jeff on the phone yesterday, I said, just that unity in itself is going to have an impact in Detroit.
Yeah.
So that's powerful, and they're definitely going to be doing some work on the ground there, and just great quality people. So we get to work with the best of the best. The people that are drawn to Mission 25 are the people that have a heart of gold, the servant's heart, and desire to do real kingdom work. And
Well,
we're
even like
blessed to be able to work with them.
Jason and his wife from Turnpoint from Ohio.
Yeah,
Sunday, I mean, we were exhausted. Mike and I had to return the ice cream truck Saturday night, so we didn't get back to help load the Mission 25 trailer, which you guys should see it. It's cool. And it was a disaster the way it was loaded. No, like, we weren't upset. I mean, just everybody was tired and just put stuff in there, and you know how it is.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
Mike and I were like, man, we got to reload there. Mike was like, dude, I got to reload this, man. And Mike's such a servant. He was going to just do it later, after we went to the shelter. I was like, no, 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 no. I was like, we got Papa Rick here, myself, Caleb, you. And I said, let's just do it now. I don't want you to have to do this whole thing by yourself. And Jason, man, he was like, well, I'll help you guys. And then he was like, I'll, and he wanted to go down and like pass out the blankets, with us. And even though the missions trip was technically over, he had such a heart to serve. Like, you're right. Some of the greatest people we said yesterday I've met on earth, we met at Mission 25. I don't know how many of you caught this story. Okay. I want to tell y'all a quick story. I don't know how many of y'all caught this, but at Mission 25, okay, let me explain something to you. When we went into the homeless teen shelter, okay, there was probably, I don't know, 50 total homeless teens, and it was a nice homeless teen shelter. I got to give them credit. The Covenant House, very nice, nicely ran. I really was impressed, Mike, that even though we had a lot of volunteers, the ratio was probably 4 volunteers per, homeless teenager. I really liked, Mike, that when we went into the shelter, into the eating area, I really liked that everybody really connected with the teenagers. Like I said, there are people that go in and volunteer at these places that all they do is just pass out the food and smile. But I love the way that our volunteers, I went to every table and there were volunteers sitting down, listening, asking questions. Some were playing cards. Caleb was doing magic tricks. It just was a good vibe, right? You could just feel
Yeah,
the energy
yeah,
of the room. Everybody was connecting. The teens were starting to open up. But I love this part, Mike. I love this. When we went out to give all the teens ice cream at the ice cream truck, we were getting ready to leave. They had to go back into the shelter. And I said, well, you know what? Let's just pray a blessing over all of you. And everybody lifted their hands and we prayed. And Mike, this is not my typical like altar call. This is not my typical push for people to get the Holy Ghost. I have a different strategy and a different style.
right,
But I just
right.
literally looked at all the teenagers and I said, any of you that want to receive the Holy Ghost, step forward right now. And dude, I get goosebumps, man. When those two teenagers stepped forward, that was awesome, man, because they literally were stepping forward in front of all their friends. And what was awesome, Mike, is they both received the Holy Ghost at the
Right.
exact same time. And one of them, her name was Kat. She was real funny, real good sense of humor, which I know this. When people laugh a lot and they're always funny, usually those people have been hurt a lot, and that's their way of coping with the pain. And that's no joke. And I could just tell, but she really was, her and Papa Rick connected and Mama Judy. And every time I walked by the table, she would say something, funny or whatever. But Mike, the Holy Ghost got a hold of her, man. You saw it. It was beautiful. She literally stood there and clung to her stuffed animal and spoke in
Yeah.
tongues for 30 minutes. She went to her knees on the grass and went into travail and what I believe was happening was there was some healing that was taking place in her soul. The pain that some of these people go through. The amount of people that walk up to us literally and say, you gave me hope today. You changed my life. Literally, Mike. I mean, it's just, and so seeing that teenager get a hold of God the way that she did, and then when she got done, we looked at her and said, Kat, how do you feel? And she just like looked around and she goes, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. That was awesome, man. Uh, and I really believe that some healing, I believe that was a defining moment in her life. They're going to go
Oh yeah.
back and teach her a Bible study. We're going to get them baptized. So that was exciting, Mike. The whole thing. Then while she's receiving the Holy Ghost, you got all these volunteers connecting with all these teenagers, witnessing to them, sharing their faith, playing football with them, kicking the soccer ball. It's just an amazing vibe, man.
It was incredible. One of the things that when you talked about hope and you talk about brokenness, and when we were the first place that we went in the morning, which was in front of the NSO shelter, we took Starbucks coffee and fresh juice and literally hundreds of bags, hygiene bags that were packed full of stuff, goodie bags full of food. And I'm trying to remember the gentleman's name. You were over there helping us pray with him at one point, and he was Amanda. That was actually the one that Amanda was witnessing to, and got to talking to him. And he was actually a convicted murderer. He had killed 2 people, and he said, "I have no hope," and he couldn't believe that God could forgive him. And we had a conversation with him about God's forgiveness and God's love, and he said, I killed 2 people. I walked in and shot them, and having that conversation with him, and he had a breakthrough, and we prayed with him, and he repented, and that was just an incredible moment to think that, I guess for me personally, I'd never necessarily prayed with someone that had intentionally killed 2 people, and that measure of grace that God gives was staggering to me.
Yeah, that was awesome. And you know what else was exciting, Mike, is the amount of stuff that was given at this missions trip, the people that
Oh
came,
wow!
the volunteers. And if you ever come to a Mission 25, bring stuff with you that makes such a huge difference. You know what blew my mind, Mike, is the homeless people that showed so much gratitude for a new pair of socks. It was okay. You want to know the word picture? Your kid Christmas morning opening up a puppy or an Xbox or an iPhone. Like the look on their faces when they opened up their gift bag and they pulled, like, the first thing they saw and grabbed was like socks, and like they look at you and give you the most heartfelt thank you, because those are things, Mike, that we got to remember, that these homeless people don't have dressers, they don't have washers and dryers, man. They don't have, like, some of them wear the same pair of socks over and over again, and to get a new pair of socks, new pair of even deodorant, like one of the homeless people told us, like, one of the volunteers at the homeless shelter was like, you have no idea what it means for these homeless people to get deodorant. It's like the number one thing they request, because think about it, they don't get to shower a lot. They're out there in the heat all day, and they need obviously hygiene stuff. So the little things like that was neat to see. It was also neat, Mike, when we go in 7 a.m. to you guys should see it. It's like, go to the beach and open up some bread and just start sticking it in the air and watch all the birds that come out of the middle of nowhere. I'm like, where did they come from, right? They come from everywhere. Well, when we went down there at 7 a.m., which is cool, Mike. I mean, who does that? Like, be at the homeless place at 7 a.m. on Saturday. That's just radical, man. Sometimes we would go at 6 a.m. And now there's so many next level things that Mike and I are talking about doing. Like, now we're talking about actually bringing our juicers and like 10 NutriBullets with a generator and like juice for the homeless, and give them like 4 to 6 different juices to choose from, and like literally just let them pick any juice they want and juice for them for free. Because, dude, they love the carrot and apple juice, man. They love it.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is the watching the whole, like, if you look down the street, all you see is yellow shirts everywhere connecting with homeless people. And everywhere you look, you see Starbucks coffee being poured, carrot and apple juice being poured. You'll see some people praying with people. You'll see someone with their hands in the air. You'll see some people laughing. You'll see people hugging. It's like, dude, for a minute, you just got to stop and just scan the street, and you
Yeah.
see so many different things. You see, homeless people eating, laughing, people like connecting, mission. And it's never like an awkward, like, boredom, like, what do we do next? It literally is like, we've got to call everyone in with the bullhorn and say, okay, we got to move on to the next. It's time to take our homeless people to breakfast. Mike, I hope people have seen the video of the homeless people coming into the lobby to breakfast. Tell about that, because, dude, that's a sight right there that was just, I mean, people were like, listen, people were like, I've never seen this, you know. The manager was like, we've never had this. I'm like, you mean no one's ever brought the homeless in here to eat? And they're like, no. Like, they were just so when I say blown away, they were blown away. They were like in a stunned state. The workers,
Yeah.
the waitresses, I mean the chefs, bro. I don't know if y'all saw this on Instagram. The chefs came up to us and gave us their tip money. The chefs that made the omelets, which those were good omelets, by
Right.
the way. The chefs that made the omelets, they came up and gave us the tip money and said, "Man, what y'all are doing is amazing. Here, we want to give and help buy a homeless person breakfast." Isn't that awesome? I mean, now I'm getting excited.
Yeah. Well, and of course we covered the fact that we didn't actually go through the casino. It's sort of the same building, but the casino facility, there's like the gaming floor, but there's also a very nice hotel. I mean, like really nice hotel. This is like in downtown Detroit, with huge marble columns and fountains, and as plush as you can imagine. And when we walked through there with our 40 homeless folks and our bright yellow T-shirts, we're like, it was just like this cognitive dissonance, right? This dichotomy of worlds colliding. And to me, that's why I stood there and videoed it. I'm like watching everybody walk through. That was unbelievable. And it was like the restaurant itself was probably the fanciest breakfast buffet you can imagine. I mean, like cloth napkins, you know what I'm saying? Servers coming with your drinks, the whole thing. So it was, I mean, the fact that we did that and we were able to experience that, it was, man, that was incredible. Sometimes you just get that collision of worlds, and that adds so much dramatic flair to what we're doing. But at the same time, we were just able to connect and build relationships and so much. And that's like, we had church there, man. We were ministering. That's what it was all about. It was ministering and spending time.
Well, Mike, as you know, when it comes to kids, you spell love. You don't spell love Love. You spell it Time. And that's the
Right.
thing. Yeah, they love the gifts, but dude, the thing they love the most is time. Same thing with the homeless. They're blown away. Like literally, when we tell them, "Hey, we're taking you to breakfast," I had a homeless couple, okay, that I invited to breakfast. They were like, "Man, we'd love to go, but we ain't got the money right now." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. You don't need no money. I'll buy your breakfast." And they like looked at me like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Well, we don't have a transportation to get there." And I was like, "No, no, no, you're riding with me. Like, come with me." Like, they're stunned by that. They're stunned. I mean, they're literally, when I say they're stunned, some of them are just like, "Wow, is this really happening?" Like, there's still people like this left on earth that care this much. You got to realize it's 50-50. There's people out there, and we've come across some amazing people out there in other ministries that are doing amazing things as well. But there's
Yeah.
also some very rude people, some very harsh people, some very cold people, and like a case in point, I'll tell you a story. I laughed so hard. Oh, I don't even know why it was funny to me. I've been over laughing because we stopped to get gas and you had to go to the bathroom so bad, and not to like call you out about it on the show, but you had to go. So that's real life.
Had to
And
go.
so anyway, you were on your way to the bathroom, and lo and behold, a homeless man stopped you, and I mean, you had to go bad. And so I got the biggest kick because you're too kind to say, "Hey, bro, listen, I gotta use the restroom first, and then I'll chat with you." Like me, I'd be like, "Hey, bro, listen, give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back. Give you all the time in the world you want." Mike's kind, man, and he stood there. I lost it. I was like, "Dude, Mike's going through torture right now." And what it was though is he wanted something to eat, man. And we were in
Yeah.
a hurry because we had to go get the ice cream truck and have it at the place by, certain time. And anyways, long story short, uh, we texted a couple of our volunteers, Terry and Janice, said, "Hey, uh, there's a homeless man that doesn't have food at this gas station. Can you guys please bring him some food or take him somewhere to eat?" And like the text back was absolutely, "We're on it. Done deal. Got it taken care of." And they drove from where they were all the way to this gas station, picked this homeless man up, took him out to eat and blessed him. And that was cool, man. That was real cool. That was exciting. And then just real quick, like when we were driving to one of our shelters on Thursday, we looked and we saw a bunch of kids in like one of the worst neighborhoods ever playing in like this little fence area. I was like, hey, let's go check that out. And we go in to go check it out, and it's like a ministry. And so we said, hey, who's in charge? And someone took us upstairs to this guy that was working on his computer, and he had like these kids crawling all over him. Literally, like one was hanging on his shoulder, one was like hanging on his leg, and and he's trying to work. I'm like, wow, this is like a real preacher here. How many of our preachers could do this? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So some preachers have never had those type of kids in their office, and here he is, like, when I say those type of kids, that's not saying those type of kids. I'm referring to kids that are fatherless, that have nothing, that are hurting, and that's exactly what it was. They had a ministry to like 40 fatherless kids and teens that had nothing, and they bring them in and they play ball with them, and they were taking them to like some kind of science fair. And I said, hey, what are you guys doing on Saturday? And he told us they were taking them to some museum or something, like 40 of them. I said, well, what are you guys doing for lunch, man? He goes, well, we usually try to feed them, but we don't have lunch for Saturday. And this is like, there's a lot of spontaneous stuff that happens at Mission 25. We go, you know something? I'll tell you what, we'll make it happen. What time are you guys going to be here? And we brought them pizza. We brought the ice cream truck. They were blown away. And they were completely blown away. But it showed me how God provides, because they were doing ministry as well.
Yes,
but they didn't have the
right.
means to do lunch for those kids. And how God sent us, and God's also sent people to us, like people to, when we went to that one shelter trying to find the moms and kids that didn't have pillows and blankets, the lady was so nice to us. We even like I don't know if we told this before, Mike, but even the lady at that apartment complex, when we went in I think we might have told this before. But anyways, God sends people to bless. It's amazing how, like, one of the ladies at the shelter that didn't have a pillow or anything was out. She was out. She wasn't even there. But when she got home, there's going to be a nice brand new pillow on her bed. See how God provides? It's just neat to me. I don't know if people are catching what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and the connections that we made, it was God connections. It's like when you get out and start to serve and look for opportunities, the doors that God opens, the connection. When we were out looking for neighborhoods, the God connections just like one after another, it was amazing. So
It really was, man. Well, they're all requesting to share 2015 locations, guys. I got good news and bad news. The bad news is we're not going to share any locations today. The good news is we are on Thursday. No, I'm just playing with you, my friends. Yeah, next year is going to be the bomb. 12 more mission trips next year. One a month again. And at least 6 or 7 brand new locations that we've never been to. We are going back to a few just because there's so much need there. And it was such an amazing mission trip that we feel some of these cities we feel like we should go to every year, no matter what. So there are probably 5 or 6 that we'll probably go to every single year, most likely. What's the closest one to here? Serge says.
Serge, we're going to be in New York City in December of this year, so that's probably the closest.
Yeah, that's pretty close, isn't it? You can at least drive to that, couldn't you? We're trying, Serge. We're really trying. Mike and I would love to come back to New Brunswick, wouldn't we?
I love New Brunswick.
Love it, man. Oh, that ain't bad, Serge. 10 hours, dude. Come to New York City and help us give away 1,000 Christmas gifts to inner city kids that have nothing. That'll be fun. Well, Mike, we still don't scratch the surface, man, trying to tell all the stories of Mission 25. I can assure you this, there's probably at least 25 more stories we haven't even got to tell yet. That's how many amazing little and big things happen at a Mission 25. But we are all out of time. And I want everyone to know that you're always welcome to watch any of our previous episodes of Fuel for Success at fuelforsuccess.tv. If this is your first time watching, you can also go to iTunes and download all of our past 145 episodes on your iPod or your smartphone or your computer. And you can also go to YouTube as well to watch these. And please share the link. All you got to do is copy and paste the URL, and you can text it to friends. They could watch our show from their phone. If any of our shows are a blessing, put it on your Facebook, put it on your Twitter, and share it. Pay it forward. That's what it's all about. We're here every day at 9 a.m. to inspire you, to encourage you, to give you practical coaching and teaching and training and motivation. And it is our pleasure, and we are honored that if one person watches this show, it's a privilege to us. But thank you to the 300 or 400 that watch every single day. God bless all of you that watch live and those that watch on the archives. We really appreciate it.
Awesome. Hey, thanks everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. For a spirituality show, unless we get sidetracked on Mission 25 again. We'll have to see.
Good.